Namaste, beautiful souls. Today is not actually a yoga class. I wanted to share with you some stretches that I do pretty much every time at the end of a leg day at the gym. And I know a lot of people don't stretch quite as much as they should, myself included, after the gym. People foam roll a lot, which is fantastic and you should definitely do it, but there is something to be said about coming back into your body after a good long workout. And so I started incorporating these stretches into my leg days, and I wanted to share so that you could also do them after your leg days. Yoga, it's not something you can really do when you're sitting in the middle of the gym. I feel like at least I'm embarrassed to do too much. So it's not a flow, it's just some floor stretches that I hope you will enjoy as much as I do. So let's begin by taking our feet long in front of us. Flex the feet back towards the face. The inner arches can be touching, or you can have your feet hip distance apart. Inhale the flat back and exhale forward fold. Seated forward fold is the first stretch. It's pretty much a standard go-to. Anytime you work your hamstrings, it's also fantastic for the back. If you can't reach your toes, that's fine. You can just grab onto your calves, or you can grab any strap, your towel, a shirt, to bring your feet closer to you, basically. But just take a nice couple deep breaths here. Inhale, come back up. Keep that right leg coming directly out of the hip socket. Take the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Forehead to knee pose, or Janu Shirsasana. Try to take long, deep breaths, expanding even the back of your heart space, noticing how that expands as you inhale deeply. And notice how maybe you can get a little deeper into the stretch as you exhale. Inhale, walk your hands back up. Take the left leg long this time, directly in front of you. Right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Inhale, reach. And exhale, fold with a flat back. You may notice that one side is very different than the other, and that's perfectly all right and totally normal. Nothing in nature is symmetrical, so there's no use striving for perfection in anything really, but in the body, as long as you are gentle and compassionate with your body. Just notice the two sides are different. Perhaps try to stay a little longer on the tight side to try to even it out, but know that that will never happen. You won't be able to even it out. It's not possible. Perfection is not obtainable, really. But really, that's what makes life more interesting, isn't it? If everything was the same and everything was perfect, we would have nothing to strive for. So take the right leg out long this time, but this time when you take your left foot to the inside of your right thigh, you'll open your hip out. So your hips are not facing that right foot anymore. Your hips are out, open to the side. Inhale, reach, keep that flat back, and exhale, fold over the right foot, right leg. This just changes the stretch a little bit, gets more into the side body rather than the back. Inhale, come back up, and switching sides. So I'm trying to move fairly quickly so that you can do this. You can use this in your gym time, after your gym time. Fold over the left foot. So you can write down these exercises if you would like and incorporate them, or you can listen to your YouTube in your headphones while you're at the gym. Inhale, come back up. Take the soles of the feet together. Gently press your elbows into your knees, not too hard, don't put too much pressure. Inhale, lift with a flat back, and exhale, fold. Cobbler's pose. Opening through the inner thighs, the groin area. And you can hold these for as long or as little as feels good to you. Come back up if you're following along with me. Take your legs as wide as you can. Flex through the feet so your toes should be facing the sky. Ground down through your hips bones, your pelvic bone, your sits bone. So you should feel that underneath your bum, the pointy part of your bum. So ground down through there. Make sure that that stays connected to the mat as you walk your hands forward. Flex the feet to the sky. Wide-legged forward fold. And come down as much as is comfortable for you. So if you're staying up on your hands, then that's perfectly fine as long as you ground down through your hips, flex through the feet. If you can walk a little bit farther forward, do so. Come to a place that feels comfortable for you where you still feel a nice stretch. Walk your hands back in, bring your legs together, come onto your hands and knees into tabletop. Take your right foot forward, left knee on the mat, and inhale, come up, low lunge. So here you can turn your back toes over, so you're pressing through the nail side of the toes, or you can keep your toes flipped under, your choice. Press through all four corners of the right foot so your right knee doesn't roll out to the side. Keep your right knee over your right ankle. Lengthen the tailbone towards the mat, engage the core, shoulders down and back. Now you can stay here with your hands on your hips if this is more comfortable for you, especially in the gym, or you can inhale, reach your hands up into the air. Your choice. From here, straighten through the right knee. Keep your hips square, so your hips should stay over that left knee. Flex the right foot and walk your hands forward into half splits. You might need to adjust where your heel is or where your knee is to keep the hips square. Keep your back flat and then fold as far as you can through your core with a flat back, crown of the head lengthening away in one long straight line of the spine. This is half splits. A good runner stretch. Maybe you just did some cardio. I made the mistake of trying to do cardio after leg day, and it was not. Don't do that. Your legs will not be able to run after leg day. It's just a bad idea. So rebend through the right knee. Take your hands on the inside of the right leg. Lizard pose. Squeeze the right knee into your shoulder. And you can stay up here, of course. If this feels good to you already, if this already feels like a nice deep stretch, or shimmy that left knee farther away from you and come down onto your forearms. If you would like a deeper stretch along the hamstrings, along the hip flexor of the left leg. If you're on your forearms, you can walk your hands back in. Bring that left knee in a little bit closer so that your right knee is above your right ankle. Ground down through the left hand, bend the left knee, and reach back and around with the right hand to grab that left foot. Now, if you're unable to grab the foot, that is okay. Grab a strap, grab your t-shirt, grab your towel, anything that you can wrap around your foot and bring it closer to you. Look over your right shoulder. Keep that long flat back. Try not to round forward. I have a tendency of rounding for some reason in this pose. Excellent. Release the leg. Take the right knee back once again to tabletop. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and step the left leg forward. Inhale, low lunge. Hips underneath shoulders, shoulders underneath the head. Make sure the left knee isn't rolling out. And again, you can keep your hands on your hips, of course. Or reach your hands up in the air, your choice. Now straighten through the left leg, flex the left foot back towards your face, square the hips. Again, you might need to readjust. Flex the foot, long flat back, and bend from the core with that back to stretch along the hamstrings. Half splits. We're really touching all sides of the legs, so it takes a little bit longer, but of course feel free to take any of these stretches that you would like to incorporate them on your own, in your own order. This is just how I do them. This is what works for me. And I like to take a bit of time after a hard workout to relax, to stretch, to come back to the breath, to just calm it all down after pushing quite hard, for however long you're in the gym. So come back forward, rebend through that left knee. Bring your hands to the inside of the left leg, lizard stretch. And again, you can stay up here on your hands, or you can shimmy that right knee just a little bit farther back and come onto your forearms. There's no right or wrong place to be in these stretches. It's just wherever feels the most juicy in your body, whatever feels the best. Stretching should feel good. A release of tension, and we all know we have way too much tension in our lives these days. So as you're stretching, make sure you take long, deep breaths. Focus on your breath as well. Maybe try counting your breath, so inhaling for a count of 3, and exhaling for a count of 3, or 4, or see what feels good for you. So walk your hands back up if you were on your forearms. Bring that left knee over the left ankle. Bend through the right leg, ground down through that right hand, and reach back and around to grab the foot. Look over your left shoulder. Breathe into the stretch. It's an amazing quad and hip flexor stretch. And you might notice again that one side is different than the other. This is definitely my tighter side. I have a hard time reaching even my foot in the beginning. But after some time, you'll notice that it releases the tension and the stretch becomes a little easier. Excellent. Now release the leg, come back into tabletop. Flip the toes under. Spread the fingers wide underneath the wrists and send the hips high in downward facing dog. Now if you've never done yoga and you've just come to this channel for the stretch, that's perfectly fine. This is the most yoga-esque stretch we'll be doing today. But for alignment purposes, spread the fingers wide, roll the triceps in towards your face, the biceps away from your face energetically. Relax the shoulders down the spine, and you can keep your knees bent and come up onto your toes to keep a long flat back. Or if you feel that you have pretty flexible hamstrings, you can allow your heels to sink in the direction of the mat. They don't have to touch. But just work on keeping that long flat back with the hips high to the sky, core engaged. So take your left foot to the center, left and right of the mat. Inhale the right leg up. And exhale, bring it forward. And we'll come into pigeon pose. So pigeon pose, you want to take your sole of your foot over towards the left, knee to the right. The idea is to have that shin parallel to the front short end of the mat, so parallel in front of you to a wall maybe. But most of us, at least I, cannot achieve that. So just that's the idea. That's kind of where you want to aim your shin towards. If you don't get there, that's totally fine. If you can't even get here with your hips square, which means equidistant from the mat, then just kind of come to sit on top of your shin bone. Left leg long behind you, press through the top of the foot. Come to sit on your shin bone, and you can stay here or walk your hands forward if that feels good to you. Now if you're able to get a little bit farther along than this, you can square those hips, press through the top of the left foot. You don't need to flex the foot here, the right foot. And then you can stay up here if that feels good. If you're feeling a nice stretch along your glute and hip area, stay up here, or you can walk your hands forward a little bit as far as, again, feels comfortable for you. Just make sure you're pressing that left hip down, right hip up a little bit to try to square the hips. And just breathe, send your breath, send your attention to the place that you feel the sensation. And you'll notice that over time, with that attention, that sensation, that location will release. You must be patient and kind to your body, but when you are, and your body knows it's safe, those muscles will release. And your stretches will be phenomenal. And they'll feel so good. Now I also want to mention that I do all of my stretching with no shoes. I find that makes it easier. Shoes can be clumpy and take up a lot of space, so I always take them off when I start stretching because that way I can get deeper into the stretches. Actually, let's be honest, I don't wear shoes on leg day. I've always worked out with no shoes, so I feel constricted and like I can't feel what I'm doing when I'm wearing shoes, so I take them off. on leg day at least. So you can stay here for as long as you like. This is one of the best poses. Or walk your hands back in towards your body, bring that front foot a little bit closer to the body, and once again bend the left knee, reach back with the left hand for a little bit of a quad stretch here. And release. Plant the palms, flip the back toes under, and come back up into downward facing dog, one-legged, and do a couple leg circles with the right foot. This is another great way to open up the hip, to work on your hip mobility. Drop the right foot down, inhale, left foot up. Exhale, bring it through, pigeon on the other side. So again, find your pigeon, find what feels the best to you. As long as you're not feeling any pain in the knee or in the joints, then you're good to go. Press down through the right foot, square the hips, right hip forward, left hip back, and you can walk your hands down. If you would like, you can stay up higher if that feels better for you. Just take a few moments to take some full breaths here in pigeon pose. Again, stay here longer if you can, but if not, if we're in a rush, then walk your hands back in, bring that left foot a little bit closer to your body, bend the right knee, and reach back and around for a quad stretch. So if you are a little bit more advanced, a little bit more flexible in that right quad, you can hook your right foot into your elbow. Or not. You can always just be holding the foot behind you, of course, wherever you are. And release. Plant the palms. Come back up into three-legged dog. Leg circles on this side. Hip mobility, very important for life. And come down onto your knees. Bring your toes onto the mat. You can flip your pinky toe out if it reaches the floor. And come to sit onto your heels. Here for just a second. You can bring your hands to prayer like I am, or you can just leave your hands down if you don't want to be too yogi-esque in the gym. And again, this will be more comfortable if you're not wearing shoes. If you are wearing shoes, try this one later when you get home because you won't have the same effects if you're wearing shoes. But it is a fantastic stretch along the arches, which is often neglected. And there are shock absorbers. Our feet do so much for us, and you know, we take them for granted until we hurt them and we realize we can't climb stairs or do anything really. So engage the core. Make sure there's not too much of an arch in your lower back. We want to be a natural arch in the back. And just breathe through the sensations. From here, walk your hands forward, flip your toes under. And you can come once again to sit on your heels. If this feels good to you, if this is where you want to be and this feels like a nice stretch along your quads, excellent, stay here. Or you can take your heels farther apart, knees hip distance apart, and come to sit between your heels. If you're struggling to get down here, this would be a great spot to like sit on your shoe. If you don't have a block, which I'm assuming if you're at the gym you don't have a block probably, so you can sit on your shoe if you'd like, or your barbell pad or your towel. If this doesn't feel like quite enough to you, you can walk your hands back behind you, stretching along the quads. If you want to go a little further, you can come down onto your forearms. Just make sure your knees don't lift. Press your knees into the mat. And if you want to go even further than this, you can come all the way down onto your back. I'm personally not feeling that today. I'm feeling kind of tight, so I'm going to stay here. This is called Virasana in Sanskrit. Great quad stretch. Walk your hands back in, come back to sit. Bring your heels underneath your booty, knees together. Thank you so much for giving this a shot today. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took something from it. Maybe you learned some new stretches that you can do after the gym. If you like this, please make sure you like the video, you subscribe to the channel, you hit the little bell notification so that you know whenever a new class comes out. I do great stretches for after the gym. We have some of those included. I also have some really strong workouts and some yoga, mostly yoga classes, but they are strong workouts in and of themselves. But just make sure that you like the video if you did enjoy it, and maybe leave me a comment, drop me a line, let me know what you're looking for the next class, for in the future, what other kinds of stretches you would like to see, what other kind of classes you would like to see. So thank you so much for joining me today. From my heart to yours, namaste.